Good morning. Happy Sunday. We're here in the TNS soundproof room. And well, a lot of us are really stressed out right now over filing our taxes, itemizing things, seeing what we owe here, how much we're going to get back here, what we can claim here, what we can't claim here, all these other kind of good things. Ultimately, just trying to find out what we're worth to the government. But with that in mind, what are you worth to yourself? What are you worth to yourself? Not your net worth, not how much money you make, not any of that kind of good stuff. Because all that is great. It's really good to know. And if that is how you determine what you're worth to yourself, and if that's what makes you happy, more power to you. Then have at it. You're probably done here. But if you are one of those people who, like the rest of us, try to find more worth every single day, or try to assess our worth every single day, or even worse, you compare yourself to someone else to figure out how much you're worth. Just like money, how much we're worth to ourselves ebbs and flows, depending on what situations that you want to focus on, or how much you want to give yourself value, all that kind of good stuff. It's gonna up and down, even once you get a good firm control on it. But for a lot of us, self-included, we don't always take the time to really appreciate the things that we have done and the things that we've accomplished, or the things that give us worth, the things that make us the useful person that we hold value in. For myself, I never really accept compliments super well, if at all. And with that being said, like a lot of people, you stop thinking that you're good at things. You stop thinking that you can do certain things. You stop thinking that people believe in you. You stop believing in you. You take away from your own worth. So with that in mind, one of the great things that the Navy taught me is you would make what's called a love me binder. And it was just your copies, not your copies. You want to make copies, but it was your hard copies, your initial versions of your achievements, the things that you've done, the awards that you got, your evaluations. And I built a lot off of that, and also built a lot off of, in David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. He quotes the cookie jar. And the cookie jar, what the purpose of that is during those really hard times when you start thinking you can't do something, when you're in the middle of something really, really difficult, and the first thoughts that come to mind are, I can't do this. I don't have enough gas left in the tank to finish this. What am I doing? Why am I here? Why am I putting myself through this? You reach into that cookie jar and you start looking at the things that you've already accomplished, the things that you struggled with before. And this isn't you there just, jerking yourself off, stroking your ego. It's you really embracing those things. Similar to that Love Me binder, you go back to that when you really need to build yourself up. When you're writing your eval for that year, you want to build yourself up and you want to see all the accomplishments that you have. And when you start writing it all down, you start looking at it, you're like, yeah, I did do that. Yeah, I did have this thing here. And you start in yourself, you get that nice tingly feeling where you see the achievements that you've done, the things you've done that you've brought to the table. And we really need to start doing that more often. In my own home, I've literally got a love me wall in my spare room where it is just that. It is the things that I, over the course of my life, have managed to stack up. And during those times when I'm just not feeling very good about myself, I'll stroll in there and I'll look at them, and it really does start to help. That has repaired my self-worth, and it has ultimately given me more worth than anything. Now, whether or not you assess and appreciate your self-worth from how much money you bring in, how much worth that you bring to a certain situation, if you're one of the people, self-included, who wants to be useful in every single situation, if that's how you assess your self-worth, make sure that you're putting towards that. Make sure that you're always moving your needle towards that. Don't place your self-worth and how you value yourself and how you appreciate yourself on how you're helpful at work and how you're helpful with your friends, and then not do things to continue to be better and better and better, and then expect yourself to have solid self-worth for the rest of your life. That's not going to work that way. It's a terrible idea. So, QT coffee. Out of my brand new universal shaker coffee cup. And that's hot. We're all in a bad time now where there's a crap ton of uncertainty throughout the entire world. And that's chipped away a lot of our worth. Because for a lot of us, we're stuck on the internet, seeing all these negative messages. And we're seeing all these other people who seem to kind of have it together and seem to be okay. And that's taken away from how much we're valuing ourselves. The internet is a great place, and it is a terrible place. Especially when it comes to little things like your appreciation of yourself, when it comes to how you want to feel about yourself. We're all really stuck on comparing ourselves. And you're worth more than comparing yourself to someone whose worth ultimately brings nothing to your life, especially if these are just people that you double tap on social media. While you're filing your taxes and while you're watching them go through the process, whether or not you are one of the people who, files with a certain company or has somebody in the backyard, your second cousin's grandma, first sister, twice removed, if they file your taxes, that's great. Just make sure that you also take some time to assess how much you owe to yourself, to assess how much you're worth to yourself, and how much you are giving yourself. Throughout this week, take some time to dig through all your little memory files and all your old little certificates and all those good things, and to lay out all the things that you've done, all the good times you made it through, and most definitely all the bad times you made it through. And make a good mental note, or preferably a good physical note of those. And start to appreciate one new thing about yourself every day. Start to look over those notes whenever you're starting to have a bad time. Don't get caught in all the bad times, and don't get caught in the popular thought that you need to be negative, or that you have to be shitty, or that the world has dealt you a certain hand. If you want to start off worth $7 and make yourself worth $7 million, you can. So, I love you. And whether or not you're worth anything to yourself, you're worth something to me.